Hello friends, welcome to my channel Go Digit. Today in this video we will understand about API pages in the Business Central on-premise and Business Central Cloud version, right? So as we know that in general when we talk about APIs, or you should say web services, uh, let me show you the screen itself. So this is my uh, local business central, that means on-premise business central, and this is my cloud version of the business central. Okay, so if I open web services here, or meanwhile it will open up, let me open up here, and if I see this web services page. So generally, till now in Navision and the Business Central, we are in case if we require to send or do the data exchange with other systems or other companies in our Business Central, we generally make the use of the web services. Okay, through this we not only do the data exchange, but obviously we can share the functionality of the Business Central with other systems. Right. So we all know that in order to create any new web services, we can obviously click on new and select the object type, and then uh, based on that object type and the object ID, system will give us the object name. And as soon as we click on the publish button, system will generate the OData URL and the SOAP URL. So OData and SOAP are basically the protocols which actually helps to generate the data from the Business Central, and then we send this data via HTTP protocol. Okay, so SOAP, as we understand that it basically is, you could say, works in more professional manner where when we send the data via SOAP, it not only generate the data, create the data, but it also envelop the data, and thus it's definitely works on the fixed contract manner. But OData works in a very open format manner. So we do not require to envelop our data before sending it via HTTP. Okay. And SOAP generally works with the XML only, so that which means that it accept or shares the XML format data, whereas OData basically works with both format JSON and XML. Okay, so in general, we can, if I see here in the administration center, we can see that we have two tabs available: SOAP services and OData services. So obviously, if we would like to work with SOAP and OData, we have to enable them from here. But when you open it, you will find that first option is enable OData services, and then second one is enable API services. Right. So API and O data, or API or SOAP data, is something like which are essentially very much same, but obviously to configure it or to access it uh, with a little bit tweak, okay, in the system. So we will see that how we can actually work with the API in this video. So this is the background of this today's video, and if you guys like my video na, so I just request you to please subscribe to my channel. So let's begin with that. So in general, when we install the Business Central, whether the on-premise or the cloud, API pages are always available to us. Okay, but obviously you cannot view the API pages directly from the web client itself. Okay, if you want to see that how many API pages and what type of API data or pages are available in your Business Central, there is a way to check that. Okay, so let me show you. So for example, to get a brief information about the API pages, we can understand that in Business Central, we can create the new pages and the query of type API. Okay, so that is called the custom API. So this means some APIs from the Microsoft are already available as soon as we install the Business Central. And then of course, Business Central gives us the flexibility to create our custom APIs. Okay, we can publish them directly from the VS Code. Once published, we cannot view from web client directly, but and also it is not available in the web services page. Some APIs of Microsoft comes with the Business Central, of course. We can access the same from the browser or via any tool like Postman services, use the base authentication. Okay, so let's see that how we can view the Microsoft APIs in both on-premise and the on-cloud. So to view the Microsoft APIs, there is a URL which we need to input in the browser. So for example, the URL goes like this, that your server name, which in my case, because I'm running the on-premise, it is a local host. Then of course your port, which you define in your administration, 8048 in my case. Then your server instance, okay. Then its API, it's a fixed value. Okay, API is the fixed value here in this URL, that it tells the system that you are trying to access the API services. Then of course the version of your API, which is currently going on, is 2.0. Okay, it can be changed in the near future. So if I type this URL in my web browser, it will give me this kind of view. Okay, so this shows that currently in my on-premise, out of the box, these API pages are available. So pages like companies, inventory posting groups, general product posting groups, picture, item variants, and all these things are available. Okay, so let's say if I want to access the company's page, so this is the default URL. And now, based on these name of these API pages, we can access their respective data. So for example, the very first thing is our main service is companies. So I have to type here companies and press enter. So it will give you the list of all the companies which are available or running in your current business central. Okay, so this is like currently only one company is available, Kronos Australia Pty Limited, in my on-premise business center. So it is giving me the detail of that only. Okay, and it is generating the data in the JSON format. So if we would like to use this API in other system, so we can use this link, and through this we can get the JSON data, and we can read the data one by one using the name thread, and use this data. So now let's say if I type items to view the items information, will it give the data or not? So as you can see, it is currently giving me this kind of all the item master data in me, in my system. Okay, but there is a catch in it. Like for example, if I type the companies again, so if you see that if you are your business center is running multiple companies, then obviously before accessing the item master or any other master API which is available out of the box, you must have to mention the company name also, that which company's data you want to access. Okay, so for example, currently there is only one company, so that is why system is not giving me the error when I was typing the items here to view the item list. Okay, but in case you have multiple companies, then the URL should not be like that you type items after this. It will give you an error. So let's say if you have a multiple companies, then for each company there is a unique ID is available which uniquely identify your company. So what we need to do is that we need to copy this ID. Okay, and then we have to mention the name of our API. In our case, it is items, let's say, that we want to access the item master of my this company. So let's press enter, and now you can have your complete data of your item master in this particular company. Okay, so this is the way we can see and work with the currently available Microsoft APIs. Okay, now coming back to cloud version of the Business Central. So cloud version of the Business Central will not follow the same set of URL standard which we are using in the on-premise. Okay, to view it in the to view the Microsoft APIs of the cloud version of the Business Central, there is a different standard of the URL. So the URL goes like this for the SaaS version. So the URL is that https api.businesscentral.dynamics.com version 2.0. Okay, tenant ID. ID is the unique ID of your company, okay, which is registered in the cloud and running the Business Central version. Okay, and then obviously your environment name, then the API, which is a fixed value, and of course the version of the API. Okay, so for example, if this is the base URL till here, then your tenant ID, then your environment name, and obviously like this. So for example, this is my cloud version. So to have an information of all your requirement of the URL, you can go to help and support, and from here you can see that this is your tenant ID, right? This is your tenant ID, and this is your environment name. Okay, which like obviously if it is a production or sandbox or whatever name you have assigned to your production to your environment, you have to mention that. Okay, so now to view that, let me open the Postman, and here with the get request, I have mentioned the URL, basic URL, then my tenant ID, then the environment name, then obviously the fixed value, then the API version. Okay, now, but after this, you must have to mention the authorization also. So with the authorization, I mean that you have to select the basic authorization here and provide the username and password. And to get the username and password, what you can do that you can go to the users of your cloud version of the Business Central, open that, and this is will be your username, and the password will be your web service access key. Okay, to generate the web service access key, click on here. It will ask you that do you want to continue? Click on yes, and it will generate your access key automatically. So just copy this and paste it here, and then when you click on send, it will give you the list of all standard APIs which are available in the Business Central Cloud version, right? And with this, in the same manner, we can view the companies, we can view the items or any list of APIs which are available here. All right. So this is how we can access the APIs, the standard APIs in the on-premise and in the SaaS version of the Business Central. So now we have understood the basic concept of uh, how we can access the current APIs in the Business Central. Let's create a project to create the custom APIs out of the box, okay, uh, from in your extension, and then we will publish that and see that if we would be able to access that also or not. Okay, so here I have created two projects here. This one is the cloud project, and this one is my on-premise project. So here I have created already one table and one page. Simple table which is having only three fields and then the list page. Now let me create the API page also here. So to create an API page, I'll click on here and select the page and select the type as API, consumer, consumers, okay, and consumer. This is my table name. Now, to create an API page, you need to provide these properties, okay, which are very much essential in the API types of pages. These are not required when you're creating a normal page, but when you're creating an API page, these things are required. Okay, so API publisher means that because you are the publisher of this extension, you are the owner of this API, you can provide the name of your company. So let's say I type here my name, then API group. Okay, so API group means that, for example, you are creating multiple API pages in your project and you want to group them under one hood. So what you can do that you can provide any name or any group. Okay, let's say I type the name here custom. This is my custom API, so I'm giving the name of the custom. API version is v1.0 because I'm creating my initial version. This is my initial API, custom API. So let's begin with this version only. Okay, now entity name and entity set name. Entity name denotes to simple, you can say the collection of your records. Okay, for example, you could give any sort of name which uniquely identify your API. So let's say I type here consumers and here I type consumer. Okay, application area is all. So let's click on next. Okay, this see, although the primary key of my table is number, but when you're working with the APIs, it is recommended that you should use uh, the system ID as your main ID, which uniquely identifies your record. Because system ID is by default available in your all tables. Okay, it's not like that you have to make it manually in your custom tables. It is available by default, and of course, it survives the rename operations also. Okay, so for example, uh, because although my number is my primary key, but we all know that by using the rename operation, rename trigger, we can also change the primary key in our record. But during that scenario also, during that operation also, system ID does not change. So this means that this can help us to actually uniquely identify our record. So what I can do this like that, number, name, and address. Okay, click on finish, and here it is, my API page. Okay, we have all the properties available. Of course, one more property which we need to define it here is OData key fields. So OData key field in our case is system ID. Okay, OData key fields means because although we are working in the API pages, but API pages also works as an OData only under the hood. So OData key field which specifies the field when you are using the OData. And as I told you that system ID is our main ID through which we will recognize our records. So I'm gonna provide this field here. All right. So this is my API page now, and we can easily now when I publish this extension, system will publish this API page also. But obviously this page will not be available in the web services, but we can access it via the URLs which we discussed earlier in our video. So what we can do is that This is our AL project 7 and this is our AL project 10. So what should I do is that let me go to in the background AL project 7, and what should I do here is that I copy all this in my cloud project also. All right, let me delete this. So in this manner, my both projects are having the same kind of objects so that we can now deploy them in the business central and see the results one by one. Okay, so what we should do is that let's publish this one by one. Let me first publish my cloud project. So let me build a project, build a package here and press Ctrl F5 to deploy the project. Meanwhile, let me build the project here also and deploy the project. So the purpose, like we are creating the API pages, we have already seen that we can read our data through get request. See, these are, you can see that get, post, patch, delete, copy, and so on. These are the methods of the HTTP via which actually HTTP protocol use to uh, to work with the data which you are sending or receiving. Okay, so for example, with get means that we are actually wants to read our data, okay, from the server. Okay, post means that we are posting our data. We are providing the server our data which we are inputting in my application, and I want that data to be post in that particular database available in that particular server. Patch related to the update or the modification operations. Delete means that you want to delete the data. Currently, we deals with get, post, patch, and delete operations in the Business Central. Okay, so if we go here, yes, we can see that our project is successfully published. So what we can do here is that we can see that whether our extension is now available or not. So let me open the local host also here and let's check first the extensions management in the cloud version. So here it is, my project is available, and if I let me wait to open it. So click on the search button and see if my extension is available. On-premise sometimes work very slow. I don't know. Okay, meanwhile it is working on now. So what we can do is that we can send the request to get the data of all the APIs in my cloud version again. Okay, so currently this data is available, but it will not have my API. Okay, so what I should do is that I can press on send to get the data again. And meanwhile it works, let us check the on-premise extensions. And here it is, my project is available. Now if I go to the web services page, let's see if my API page is available here or not. So let me filter it, the object type as page, and see if my consumer page is available. No, it is not available. So we know that how we can get the information of the APIs. So let's see, remove this, press enter. And now can you see that if my consumer is available or not? To check that, I can type here consumer and it's not available. Okay, so why it is not available? Let's see that. Go to the document again, and we have till now understood the concept of URL in order to access the Microsoft APIs. But if you really want to access the custom APIs, then there is a slight difference, okay, which you need to make a change in your URL to access the custom APIs. So uh, the base URL to access the custom APIs is like localhost 8048 BC190 API. Till here is very much same, but then you have to add this information also in your URL. The information is API publisher, API group, API version, and entity set name. Okay, so you know that from where we can get this information. Open your project, and if you go to your API page, you will see that you have provided all these parameters information: API publisher, API version, API group, entity set name, right? So let's add this information in the URL one by one. So my URL is something, let me copy it. Okay, so copy it. Now, next information is API publisher. So what is the name of my API publisher? It is Kapil. So provide API publisher. Then API group, which is custom. So provide custom also here. Then API version and entity set name. So let's see. API version is v1.0 and entity set name is consumer. So let's type that. API version is v1.0 and entity set name is consumer. Now press enter. Okay, I'm getting some error, so we need to see that why. Let me change it again here as Kapil custom. Okay, maybe we have mentioned some wrong information. Okay, I got it, guys. The port is not 8048, the port is 7048. Let's press enter again. O data context, localhost, API, couple, custom, metadata, consumer, value. See, this thing is coming. Now we are not getting any sort of error. But there is no data available here. Why? Because my table does not have the data. So let's input some data in my page. So let me type consumer, consumer, consumer list, provide some data, one, couple, like this address, then course 2, Varun, like this. So now my consumer list having two data available. So let's run this again, and now data is available. So first data is Kapil and second data is Varun. Okay, so this is how we can check the custom APIs also in our business central. So I hope guys you have now understood the concept of how to create the custom API pages and how to access those custom APIs and the Microsoft APIs in the Business Central. Of course, the way to access your custom APIs in the cloud version also remains the same. Like you have to mention the API publisher, API group, API version, and entity set name in your standard URL of the cloud. Okay, so thank you very much for watching this video. If you like this video, please hit the like button and please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much.